Hi guys! Now, you may know me as GShadow007, but on here, I'll be referred to as WebHeadGaming. And I basically started this channel so I can start doing all my gaming stuff on here, as opposed to doing it all on my main channel where I do anime reviews and other stuff like that, to keep it well organized and whatnot. So, without further ado, let's see if this experiment goes well and I get some positive feedback. If not, then I'll review. Now, what game shall I be tackling first on this channel? Why? It's one of my favorite games of all time. A childhood favorite, and it's based off my favorite superhero. I'm using the word favorite a lot, aren't I? Spider-Man for the PlayStation 1.
Welcome, true believers and newcomers alike. Spider-Man co-creator Stan Lee here. Once again, we find our hero Peter Parker, better known around the world as the Amazing Spider-Man, in a heap of trouble. But this is just the beginning, Spidey fans. So get ready for a true superhero action thriller, packed to the brim with thrills and chills, twists and turns, more supervillains than you can shake a web at, and of course, non-stop web-slinging, wall-crawling action.
Spider-Man 2000 was a Spider-Man game that was released in 2000. It was published by Activision, and it was developed by the now-defunct Neversoft Studios, who created games like Tony Hawk Pro Skater and Guitar Hero. Spider-Man 2000 is widely regarded as the first really good Spider-Man game. Before Spider-Man 2000 came along, most of the Spider-Man games were disappointing to say the least. But Spider-Man 2000 brings us everything we love about Spider-Man and possibly more. So let's start off with the story. The story starts off with Doc Ock finally becoming a reformed citizen of society. Yeah, right. And he shows off his new invention at a science expo. Peter Parker and his rival Eddie Brock also happens to be there to take photos. During Doc Ock's presentation, a fake Spider-Man shows up to steal Ock's invention. Oh, and he also breaks Eddie's camera, which causes him to go, well, berserk.
Can't fight him anymore! Again, innocence falls prey to the evil of Spider-Man.
Anyway, Peter quickly changes into Spider-Man and tries to pursue whoever framed him for stealing the invention. Meanwhile, two very familiar shadows commence their plan to take over New York City by filling the streets with gas.
It begins.
Okay. So now it's up to Spider-Man to stop this evil menace from taking over New York and clear his name. The story is as simple can get, and it's very predictable and cheesy. You can tell in a millisecond who the main villains are, and they make it so obvious through their voices and character models. What makes this game stand out story-wise is how over the top and goofy it is. This is one of the most light-hearted stories in the Spider-Man franchise. All the Spider-Man / Marvel characters are entertaining, and have dialogue that is rather humorous to me.
Get away, Gargan!
Your time is running out.
Well, if it ain't Bug Boy! Get out of my way, nerd! Watch that first step, Parker. It's a doozy.
Ow, my head! Oh, toe, ow!
Look out, lady.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, sorry, lady. Didn't see a thing.
Hell, they even made Venom into a goofball, and he actually has some of my favorite lines in the game.
Tell me this, Einstein. Who could have wanted to steal Octavius' technology?
Ooh, we know!
Who?
The Submariner.
Submariner? Get serious, will you?
The mighty Thor.
Are you out of your mind? Don't answer that.
Galactus.
Forget it, Eddie. I need Jameson's help on this. We're going to the Bugle.
Jameson. We hate Jameson.
You bonehead. We're not going to see Jameson. We're going to use his computer database.
Ooh, are we gonna surf the web?
Sure, there are some dark moments in the game, like civilians getting shot by robbers and Venom kidnapping Mary Jane and using her as bait to fight Spider-Man. But I still thought that the mood of the game overall was very lighthearted. The only thing I truly question is, why did the main villains gas the city? What was the purpose of it? I understand that they did that because the PS1 wasn't powerful enough to produce such draw distance, but still, what was the purpose of it story-wise? Aside from that, the story is cheesy, but it does have everything that makes Spider-Man enjoyable. Quirky one-liners, kick-ass action, sense of adventure, and likable characters. The gameplay is a huge step up compared to past Spider-Man games. It's a 3D action-adventure game where you literally become Spider-Man. You can web swing from building to building with the L2 button, you can throw punches and kicks with the square and circle button, web up bad guys with a triangle button, and even use different web attacks by pressing triangle and any direction on the D-pad. Throughout the game, you are greeted with several levels that are charming and fun to play through, like the helicopter chase levels or the level where you battle on top of a subway train. The only levels that are kinda annoying are the sewer levels, since you can die really easily by drowning. You also fight various Spider-Man villains in boss fights that are really entertaining and enjoyable. Some of the villains you fight include Scorpion, Rhino, Venom, and Mysterio, and their boss fights all play out differently and never felt frustrating or boring. Well, maybe except for Carnage. There are also a lot of items to collect, such as comic books and alternate costumes. You can also look at character bios in the gallery and practice in training mode. There's even an option to play the game on kid mode, so children can pick up the game and play it through with no difficulty. The game does have some flaws. The camera is a big issue since you have no method of controlling it whatsoever. So the only way to effectively turn around is if you stop moving to let the camera resituate itself behind you. I find myself doing this constantly and it gets annoying. The second issue are the bugs. The perfect example is in the Venom chase stage, where you glitch out 90% of the time after triggering a cutscene and crawl to the right of a building you're on, as opposed to swinging to the next building to get the Venom. This can get annoying as it can sometimes cost you the level, since Venom is so goddamn fast. Speaking of which, if you die or fail a level, you have to do it all over again. No checkpoints whatsoever. Fortunately, most of the levels are pretty short, so it's not too frustrating. Overall, the gameplay is solid for its time and set the standards for many Spider-Man games to come. The graphics are dated, but have a nice comic book charm to it. It's colorful and fits with the light-hearted tone of the game. The only complaint I have about this game in terms of the graphics are the character models in the cutscenes. Aside from Venom and Carnage, they don't move their mouths, which makes it very awkward whenever they talk.
Jameson would pay any price to get this kind of dirt on Spider-Man.
The music is awesome. It's very catchy and full of variety, ranging from techno to rock. Even the remix of the Spider-Man theme song by Apollo 440 is kick-ass. For the most part, the voice acting is incredibly cheesy and hasn't aged well, but the voices do match with most of the characters. Rino Romano, who voices Spider-Man in Spider-Man Unlimited, reprises his role in the game and does a good job. Doc Ock is voiced by the late Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., hope I'm saying that right. He previously voiced him in the animated series. Jennifer Hale, one of my favorite voice actresses, voices Black Cat and Mary Jane. Need I say more about her? Most of the other characters are either voiced by Darren Norris or D. Bradley Baker, and I like both of their performances. Darren Norris does a good job voicing Venom, capturing both his comedic and aggressive side. D. Bradley Baker does an incredible job capturing Rhino's stupidity but I find him annoying as Carnage. All in all, the voice acting is cheesy, but it works in a way. Spider-Man 2000 is still quite an interesting game after all these years. It did what Superman 64 failed to do, make a fun 3D game about a comic book hero, and it would set the stage for many superhero games to come afterwards. The game is out for numerous platforms: PS1, Nintendo 64, Sega Dreamcast, and PC. The Sega Dreamcast and PC versions of the game have better graphics, but I personally like the charm of the PS1 graphics. The Nintendo 64 version doesn't have cutscenes, but it actually has comic book panels instead for a more authentic approach of telling a Spider-Man story. If you own any of these consoles, then I highly recommend playing the game. It's dated, but I feel that it's still very charming. Final score, 7.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.
So, Rhino, you got any threes?
Hey! Hey, I got a bingo! Ha ha! You guys think you're so smart, but I won! Ha! Who's your daddy, Doc Ock? Ha ha ha! Victory is mine! You're always laughing at me, but who's crying now, huh? Ha 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 ha! Wait a minute, I made a mistake.